Persona 5 Royal is coming to modern platforms on October 20th, which should hopefully be today. So, is the game worth picking up? Is it worth picking up the remaster if you already own the game? Is it worth upgrading to Royal if you've already played Persona 5 base? Those are things I intend to answer in this video. Is it worth getting the game? Is it worth upgrading if you've already played base? Stuff like that. So let's jump right into it. First up on the chopping block, have you ever played Persona 5 base or Royal? If the answer is no and you're interested in JRPGs, this game is a high recommendation. It's a fantastic story with really great characters, really great combat, and to be entirely honest, this game is easily worth picking up, especially if it's your first time around. And hell, bonus points if you're playing on Steam, because then you can wait for a sale and get the game for like $40 with all of its DLC. Now, in terms of what I mean by JRPG, basically really long RPGs, but for example, if you're a fan of series like Fire Emblem, like hell, if you want something that is essentially a really dark and heavy Pokemon, you got it. Like, by all means, Persona 5 is not perfect, but it is an amazing game that's easily worth checking out. And again, if it's your first time playing, I really just need to say the combat is fantastic, the story is amazing, and it's a really fun game. Albeit, like, and hell, if you've played any other game by Atlas and you liked that, it's going to be something you're going to enjoy. Albeit, certain things are foreshadowed really poorly, because some of them are things like a voice actor change or a single dialogue on a character that's appeared in every game. But the foreshadowing could be done better for certain things, but either way, it's a fantastic game, and I've played this 150-hour game like 3 times. So, I think that should say something about how much I personally love this and how much it's a high recommendation. Again, if you're fans of series like Fire Emblem, hell, Xenoblade, if you just want a story, like a long story, and you're fine with putting up with a really long game. If you're a fan of that style of RPG, this is something that is highly worth picking up in my opinion. If you're not 100% set, go ahead and just look up on YouTube gameplay. And if that's interesting and you are in for a really exciting story and a really interesting story, this is a high recommendation. And if it's something where you want to check it out and you have something like Steam, wait for a sale. Hell, this probably goes for PlayStation as well, since I got that game for half off on PlayStation 4. And if you have Xbox, it's on Games Pass for free. Basically, this game is easily worth its full price, and on platforms like Steam where you're going to be able to pick it up for half, or Xbox where it's literally part of Games Pass, which I feel like that's the only reason people have an Xbox. It is easily worth it. As for upgrading, if you really enjoyed the game, this is highly worth it. If it is your second time around, it's probably worth waiting for a sale, but this is a fantastic game, and to be entirely honest, it is easily worth an upgrade if you're someone like me that loves the original game to death. It fixes basically every issue I had with the original, and this is coming from someone who, the original was already my favorite game of all time. And Royal fixed every single issue I had with it. Like, for example, guns being utterly useless. It fixed all that and added something like 20 new hours of content in the 3rd semester. So, if you ask me, it's easily worth it. And frankly, there's no reason to ever pick up base unless you literally only own a PlayStation 3. But also, how do you not own anything else? It's now on every platform. Like, you definitely own a computer. Or a Switch, or an Xbox, or a PlayStation. Like, obviously, I also say that assuming, since I run a gaming channel, I'd assume you own a console newer than the PlayStation 3. But either way, this is a fantastic game. Maybe it's not worth picking up on Switch, because I don't know how it will run, because the Switch is a joke. By the way, I say that with love. I love the Switch. But that's something I'll answer for you guys eventually. And in all honesty, it's a fantastic game, and it's worth upgrading if you love it. If it's a game you enjoyed, but you don't think you'll ever go back to, probably not worth it. But if it's something where, hey, I like this, I'll probably replay it one day, it's worth picking up on a good sale. And if it's something where it's a game you adore, or you want to do something like a randomizer, Steam is the way to go. And if you don't believe me on how much I love this game, my PlayStation 3 quite literally died playing this game. It is something I can play to death. In the case of, I can literally play it to the literal death of one of my systems. Which preferably won't happen to anything else. I really don't want to buy another of anything, but to be entirely blunt, if it's a game you like, if it's a game you love, if it's something you want to replay, this is easily worth it. Because if it's something where you want to come back to this game at some point and replay it, hey, there's a whole new dungeon and story arc. Basically, this is something where it's easily worth picking up if you enjoyed the original and would like to replay it and are willing to pay money again. Basically, it's probably worth it. And the final category, people who have already played Persona 5 Royal. This is something where I can't really recommend it if you've already played it. It's basically, do you think things like playing it on a handheld is worth upgrading? For me, that's a definite yes. I'm definitely going to pick this thing up on Steam at some point. Playing it on a Steam Deck would be fantastic. But if you already own the system, you just have to look at it like, is something like playing it on a handheld worth it? Is being able to record gameplay footage for YouTube videos worth it if you're someone like me that is an actual tangible benefit? It's simple things like, is it worth it in what I want to do, or can I settle for just continually playing on the PlayStation 4? That is one I can't really say, because that is entirely up to your own judgment and if it's worth it. But honestly, all this is, but it is still a game. But it's a game I highly recommend to anyone who has not played it. If you want to hear more about me talking about this game once you've either played it, or just want to continue hearing someone who loves this game to death talk about it, and other RPGs like it, feel free to like and subscribe. And if not, see you in the next one.